Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 1078 of our daily content grind, and today, I can't believe we haven't done this already. I've been doing daily content on this YouTube channel for almost 3 years straight now. September 12th, by the way, is going to be the 3-year anniversary of this nonsense. And almost all of it has been Transformers. 95% of it has been Transformer-based. And through all of that, I never thought to just cover the original debate in Transformers, the one that has been going on for literally 40 years. This is literally the oldest argument the fandom has. This was done in playgrounds long before there was an internet to cry about this over. So let's actually talk about it today. And this is, of course, is Rumble the blue one or the red one? Is it Rumble is blue, Frenzy is red, or Rumble is red, Frenzy is blue? Which is it? Because this has caused wars to break out. This is heated. You talk to any Transformer fan, and you can immediately tell what they grew up on or how they associate Transformers by just asking them, what color is Rumble? And you're going to get a completely different answer. Now, if you're a Bayverse fan, you don't really have to worry about this debate. Because to you guys, Frenzy is a little guy made of scrap metal that flies out of Barricade's chest one day and never appears in any other movies afterwards. So you have your own Frenzy, and you don't have any Rumble to worry about, so you're cool. You can just kind of chill out and just watch the fireworks happen here. For the rest of us, no, we have to have this hotly debated. So, if you are new to the franchise, if you don't know what I'm talking about, in the original Sunbow cartoon, Rumble was depicted as the blue cassette robot of Soundwave, while Frenzy was depicted as the red. The problem here is that the original toys, Rumble was the red one, Frenzy was the blue one. And thus starts a debate that has raged on for years. Even the original cartoon who made this error in the first place gets this backwards. During the first episode, when Teletran is scanning everyone for new modes and, to repair them, it identifies Rumble as a red robot. Okay, so how did this happen? No one really knows. It's a pretty big production gaffe that has existed literally since the first piece of Transformers fiction. Well, technically, the first piece of animated fiction anyway. But there's some argument over this. There's my own speculation. I feel like I understand why. I feel like it falls under the same idea of why Ironhide was so radically changed from what his toy looked like, and that is just on-screen presentation. Let's take a look at his main lineup. So Soundwave has a ton of cassettes over the 3 seasons of the show, but there's 3 that he went to more than A: Ravage, Rumble, and Laserbeak. Now, if you look at that arrangement, you've got Ravage, a black Jaguar. You have Laserbeak, a black and red Condor. If I'm animating a cartoon, I'm looking at that and going, I really don't want to cause any kind of mix-up here or make them blend together too much by throwing in another primarily black robot. So what if we just switch the color schemes, and that gives a little bit of visual diversity, as well as not confusing any kids out there who might assume that Laserbeak and Rumble are the same bot because the robots are supposed to transform into things, right? So if there's a red and black robot and a red and black bird, kid might assume incorrectly that they are one and the same if they appear separately. So we're not going to worry about any of that. We're just going to make them blue. Seemed like what it was at the time. It seemed like an artistic direction to me. And this kind of continues on. This kind of continues on for a long, long time. But this really only counts if you are a fan of the cartoon first. There's also the Marvel comic, where the blue one is Frenzy. See, they actually got it right. They are actually based on the toys, so no mix-up really happened. And this tends to carry on, though there are still weird discrepancies if we go throughout the history of Transformers. Let's look at the comic books for now, and we'll just keep track in our heads of how often this gets switched around. So if we look at the Dreamwave comic books, Frenzy is the blue one, Rumble is the red one, okay? We're being accurate to what Hasbro intended the characters to be. All right. If we move on to the Transformer G.I. Joe comics from Devil's Due, Frenzy is now the red one again. All right. Consistency does not exist with this. Proof in that the next Transformer G.I. Joe crossover, the weirdly drawn IDW one, returns Frenzy to being the blue one. Though it does keep the core cast color-wise together for out of Soundwave, so at least give them credit for that. Now, Frenzy also remains blue if we go to the My Little Pony crossovers. So that's fairly consistent. You'd think IDW is being pretty consistent here. And then if we go to IDW 2.0, Frenzy again is the blue one. But TJ, why did you skip over IDW 1.0? Like, isn't that like one of the primary fictions? One of the longest running fictions in Transformers? Yes, it is. And I have to skip over that because that's a whole mess in and of itself. Rumble and Frenzy were constantly flipped back and forth between which was which. Now, keep in mind, 11 years of storytelling, it's not all by the same writer. Different teams, different artists, different writers, different everyone were all flipping around through all these books, and there were different teams running stories parallel to each other. So sometimes one didn't talk to the other to go, what color is this character supposed to be? Which version of this character am I supposed to be using? When it comes to Rumble and Frenzy, if the writer didn't specify, okay, this one is Rumble, this one is Frenzy, this is the blue one, this is the red one, then it was down to the artist's interpretation. And the result of that was Rumble and Frenzy flipped colors constantly throughout the entirety of IDW 1.0's run. It really came down to the same thing it comes down to most of us. It's whichever one we grew up with. We grew up on the toys and the Marvel comic, or sort of some later media, then Rumble's the red one. Rumble's the blue one if you grew up with the old school cartoon and some of the other fiction. Again, this is all over the map. To Hasbro's credit, they have tried. They've really tried to keep this straight and course correct history. Because to them, Rumble is always the black and red one. Because keep in mind, the toys have their own fiction completely separate from what the cartoon is doing, from what the comic books are doing. That's why Thundercracker has this characterization as feeling bad for what they're doing to Earth and actually kind of liking the planet or pitying the Earthlings. It's the characterization that modern Thundercrackers tend to pull from. That didn't exist in the cartoon or the Marvel comics. That is a toy fiction thing. And the same is true with Hasbro. They try to stick to the original toys. So, of course, the first Rumble toy is black and red. Obvious. So they continue to try and keep that pattern. In Alternators, he was red and black. Red and gunmetal, but, close enough, right? The Robot Heroes, same thing. He's the red one. With the pile drivers, no less. Oh, this is another fun little diversion between this. So, Frenzy's not supposed to have pile drivers. He's not. The whole idea behind it was Rumble caused earthquakes. Frenzy caused sonic attacks. That was supposed to be the distinction between them. They both cause different kinds of shaking. It just depends on which flavor it is. The animators kind of just got the powers mixed up or just decided, well, they both do the same thing. So now they both have pile drivers. They all cause earthquakes. We're just going to throw them all together and make this even more confusing. Now you can't tell them apart based on their powers either. Let me continue. Titans return. We got another Rumble. And this Rumble was again red and black. Cool. Great. Siege. It's a tricky one to get, but yeah, this frenzy exists, and this, this rumble exists, and this rumble is actually like, the red and black one. And they even tried to, and even the masterpiece is, they do consider rumble to be the red and black one. That said, Hasbro is known to deviate once in a blue moon. Every now and then, they decide to do something a little bit weird, and we end up getting a blue rumble out of the official company. Case in point, in 2011, the current toy line was supposed to release Demolition Rumble. This was the picture, that was the name it was assigned. The toy never made it out, which is kind of a weird Destiny thing, I guess. Hasbro dared to actually release a blue rumble, and it didn't actually release. Oh well, that kind of happens. But like I said, once in a blue moon, and I don't mean to make that a pun on this current situation, it does actually occur. Case in point, the Creo Class of 84 set included a blue rumble. Now, this is largely because he is based on the cartoon. It's the Class of 84. They're all using their cartoon depictions for the little toys, so okay. I guess this one can be blue without being weird. If they're going cartoon accurate, they do tend to go for the blue rumble. We see that with Studio Series 86, where they actually have to label it rumble, parentheses, blue, which I think is hysterical. So yeah, there are times where they'll actually release a blue rumble. Sometimes they don't have an option in the matter because someone else outside of Hasbro has decided for them. This one, for instance. So this is the one from the fall of Cybertron toy line, the origin of the Generations toys. This is Rumble, even though he is Hasbro released and he is blue. Okay? So in Japan, they don't screw around with this. What you're actually looking at is the Japanese version of Frenzy, because they never get this mixed up. In their cartoon, the names were correct. So thus, they keep all of the toys as correct as possible. This confusion doesn't happen nearly as much over there as it does over here. Point being, they had to do this because the High Moon games actually did choose blue for Rumble's color. Someone grew up with the cartoons on that team, so Blue Rumble it is. And this informed everything else. Keep in mind, those High Moon Studio games, War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, they're supposed to be in canon with Transformers Prime, meaning when Transformers Prime's toy line decided to do a Rumble, he ends up blue. Abba dee, abba die. Look, I've made it this far into the video without making the Eiffel 65 joke. Please just let me have that one. Now, like I said, Takara managed to keep this as straight-laced as possible. Not only did they release Rumble in original Rumble colors over there, they also retooled the head to look more G1 accurate, so it was even more Rumble than Rumble. Yeah, they don't care about continuity over there, by the way. If it's a Rumble, it's red and black no matter what. They, of course, eventually did release the tank, the one that was supposed to come out over here, but they actually did do both the blue and the red color scheme, meaning Rumble got to be red upon his release, with Takara. That said, once in a blue moon's about to happen again. You want to know the really weird thing? Let's rewind a bit to Studio Series 86 Rumble, and you go, okay, that's the color he was in the movie, so that's the name he has to have, right? We're about to get that toy again. It's one of the cassettes packed in with the upcoming Legacy Soundwave. So this is an opportunity to give him his original name. He's supposed to be Frenzy. He's Rumble. In the upcoming Soundwave multi-pack, he's Rumble again. So every now and then, Hasbro does get really weird with it, and I'm not even entirely sure why. So with the 86 line in Studio Series, I can kind of get behind it because, like, yeah, it's the cartoon accurate thing to do. but they don't really have any reason to do that in Legacy. You know, this is going to be a Soundwave toy. It's going to be on shelves at the same time as a literal G1 toy Optimus Prime redo. Obviously, like, generally when Hasbro is doing their toy lines, they stick to their original in-house canon. Rumble is the red one. It's super bizarre to actually get to this point with, like, Frenzy is going to be skipped and it's going to be Rumble instead, is the blue one. God, it brings me all the way back to, like, thinking about, like, the original lineup, because this is all, remember, this is the set that's also going to come with Buzzsaw. And someone in the comments by now probably wondering, like, well, if they had a problem with red and black characters coming out of Soundwave, why didn't they just use Buzzsaw? Because he's yellow. That would have fixed it. Because they weren't selling Buzzsaw. They didn't need to sell Buzzsaw, right? Because Buzzsaw came included with Soundwave. If they sold you on Soundwave, you were getting Buzzsaw no matter what. Didn't have to worry about it. Laserbeak is the one they had to sell. So Laserbeak it was. So that's the whole thing. Guess what? The whole confusion, big shock, is all down to marketing. And it's all down to, we needed to sell you toys. Some things about this brand never change. The fun part is, when it gets outside of Hasbro, things go all over the place again, and once again, we have no consistency. The loyal subjects release their little action vinyls for Transformers. Rumble is the red one. There is a, but again, it goes all over the place. Super 7 in their reaction line also did Rumble. He's the blue one. Which, by the way, this is a really good opportunity to remind you that when we say, like, he's the blue one, what we really mean is he's the purple one, because that's his dominant color. But we're going to keep saying blue because that's the joke. Statues did the exact same thing. Here's one from Imaginarium. And yeah, there is a little robot there at the feet that is Rumble in this case. XM Studios also did Rumble as part of their statue for Soundwave, and he's red in this one. And then Diamond Select went ahead and did their own, and they just featured the character all on his own, no attachment to Soundwave. And it's back to being Rumble in the blue color scheme. Here's one more. This was a wall bust kind of thing. I'll give you a little second. If you haven't seen the statue before, here, get your guess in right now. Which do you think? Which is it? Which is it? Which is he? It's Rumble. Rumble's the blue one this time. Oh, if you want to play a red one though, if you actually want some way of playing a red Rumble, World of Warships has you. They threw in Rumble for some reason. Really random character choice, but they decided red and black. Oh, and Wizards of the Coast got your back too, because red and black was their choice for Rumble. Though that's much closer to Hasbro, they're still kind of autonomous and do their own thing, so could have gone either way there, really. It's a great opportunity to remind you, screw Wizards of the Coast and how they're about to screw over everyone who uses D&D Beyond. Use books and physical paper. They can't delete those and make you waste all the money you spent on the books. I'm a little salty about that at the moment. You know, in all of this debating over red or blue, Rumble Frenzy, which one is it? You know who had the best idea? Earthspark had the best idea. Here's our version of the character. Her name's Frenzy, and she's purple. She's not red or blue. Eat it. So, where do I stand? Here's the big one. Where does TJOmega stand on the biggest debate in Transformer history? Personally, I didn't really read the Marvel comics as a kid. Once in a blue moon, I would actually pick up I would get a book, but it wasn't like my be-all end-all. Like, it was just like a curiosity once in a while thing. And frankly, by the time I was old enough to read, the book was over. But when it comes down to my identity, it's always going to be based on the cartoon. Rumble was blue, so that's how my brain always pictures the character. And there's no amount of red toys released by Hasbro that's actually going to change that. But if we're really talking seriously, I think I kind of fall in with everyone else at this point where I say, I don't really care anymore. It's really not worth arguing. It really is not. It's a joke. It's become a joke in the community because it used to start fires, and now it's just like this silly thing Hasbro does, you know? It's like kind of like the characters with swap names in Street Fighter. Who really cares, you know? Just pick up the one you like and enjoy it. Call it whatever name you want. Make up your own name for it. You know, you're not beholden to what the packaging tells you the name is. Just say whatever. That's it. Simple as that. And they can both be red and blue, and it's really doesn't make a difference. You know, it's still just them. You know, and that's fine. So, here is where I intentionally start flames in the comment section for the sake of algorithmic numbers. Where do you stand? Which side of the fence are you on? Is Frenzy red or is Frenzy blue? Is Rumble red or is Rumble blue? And I'm just going to leave that landmine there, step away, wish you all a very good day, and thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.